Families, we'd like to welcome you to a new school year at the Expedition School. This year, we will be using a new standards-based report card. Let's take a look at how standards-based grading works and how it is different from grading you may have experienced in your past. There are some fundamental differences between a traditional grading system and a standards-based grading system. In years past, your child may have come home with a grade in a single subject, such as math. Well, in a standards-based grading system, what we're going to do now is give each major standard a score or grade scaled from E to N. In the traditional grading system, a teacher would base grades on percentages, calculating them using an average. In a standards-based grading system, we're going to use a 4-level rubric and emphasize what's happening more recently in the quarter. We're going to start looking at trends and how the student is performing on the standard most recently. In the traditional grading system, you will notice that effort, behavior, and work habits are frequently a part of the grade. Well, not in standard-based grading. In standards-based, we're going to look at tests, portfolios, projects, and performance tasks only. We're going to use the summative assessments. So, what's wrong with a traditional grading system anyway? I'm going to use a couple of slides to demonstrate that. I think the first slide here does a decent job. So if we look at the student's grade in math, he got a C. Well, we all understand that means he got somewhere in the 70% range, but when you really think about it, what does that mean? Does that mean the student was good at division but really struggled with fractions? And if it does mean that, where does it say it on the report card? So what we're going to do on the standards-based report card is we're going to give a grade to each one of those standards. With the standards-based reporting method, we're going to be communicating with you better than ever about your child's mastery of the standards. Let's take a look at this slide to demonstrate one more time what is wrong with the traditional grading system. We're going to focus on two students on this graph, the student in blue and the student in green. Let's take a look at the student in blue. The student in blue started off the quarter all right. Maybe it was review. They started to struggle and then they dropped off, scoring somewhere in the 40% range in the final assessment. The student in green was just the opposite. They really struggled at the beginning of the quarter, started to build confidence and skills, and by the end of the quarter ended strong with a final assessment in the 90s. What we would do in a traditional grading system is we would average those scores. And when we do that, you can see the student in blue is still scoring 6% higher than the student in green. In fact, it seems to show that the student in green only understands 60% of that standard. But it shows in the graph that at the time of reporting, the student in green is in the 90 percentile. So how do we fix this? We fix this by looking at trends. What has the student done lately? We pay more attention to the more recent assessments, and we get away from averaging scores. So why are we using a standards-based grading system? 1, the students, and 2, the parents. For the students, there is data that shows that they are more successful in a standards-based grading system. And for parents, we're going to be communicating with you better than ever how to guide and support your child's learning. The question that's on everyone's mind, what does the report card look like? Well, here's a sample. Instead of only grades for math, reading, science, and social studies, we're giving grades to each of the major standards in each subject. We're going to be using the grades E, P, A, or N, or in the first half of the year, you may see an asterisk, meaning that the teacher has not yet assessed on the standard. And what do these letters mean? Well, here it is. This is a 4-level scoring rubric that will guide teachers as they complete their report cards. The language on this rubric helps communicate where your child is in his or her learning progression on that particular standard. Notice that the grade P for practitioner is the goal of the grade. Let's address a few important questions. First, my child has mostly A's for apprentice on the first and second report card. Is this okay? Yes, this is okay. Sometimes teachers are not finished teaching the standard and have only taught part of the standard. Therefore, it is not possible to score above an apprentice because apprentice means partial achievement. Now, this concept is important to understand. Do the expert, practitioner, apprentice, and novice translate into the letter grades of A, B, C, and D? And the answer is no. Avoid making the mistake of trying to translate a standards base grade into a traditional letter grade. To truly understand what the grade means, take the time to understand the rubric. One other really important thing to understand about standards-based grading is that in the score, we are not going to include effort, participation, attitude, behavior, neatness, attendance, citizenship, extra credit, etc. These are not related to students' progress with the standards. They are very important, and we understand that, but they belong with the habits of work and learning. This part of the report card is just as important as the academic score. With these 6 habits of work and learning, we're going to be reporting on students' effort, behavior, and attitude, and all of those things that make someone a successful learner. We are so thrilled to bring this exciting and positive way to grade to the Expedition School, and we look forward to a school year filled with very rich and enjoyable learning experiences for your child.